Hey everybody, welcome back to Investing with Wesley. Today I want to talk to you more about IRAs, specifically what you can do with self-directed IRAs. Because if you remember in my last video, I told you that an IRA didn't stand for individual retirement account. It stood for individual retirement arrangement. I also mentioned that the word arrangement played a key part in allowing you to broadly diversify your investments while keeping the tax benefits that IRAs give you. So with that being said, let's dive a little deeper. Now, first off, guys, I want to say that the only way you could use the word arrangement to its full potential is if you have something called a self-directed IRA. Because if you have an IRA that's not self-directed, chances are the broker that you're using to hold your IRA won't allow you to invest in some of the things that you could invest for. And this is because typically people use IRAs to only do stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, and other traditional kind of investing. But with a self-directed IRA, you are in complete control. There is no fiduciary from the broker's end to tell you what is or is not a good investment. All they do is write the check to whoever you tell them to send the check to. You are in complete control over everything and anything that you want to invest in. Now, a self-directed IRA or an SDIRA can be invested in the traditional funds like I just mentioned, but they also have the added benefit of being able to invest in non-traditional investments. So a traditional investment for an IRA is something like a stock, bond, mutual fund, ETF, or REITs. Basically anything that's a paper investment. But what if instead of buying a REIT, you actually wanted to buy a real piece of real estate using your IRA? Is that possible? I mean, real estate's an investment in and of itself, right? Well, with an SDIRA, it is completely possible. In fact, with an SDIRA, all non-traditional investments are possible. You can invest in things like businesses where you put up upfront cost like a franchise fee, and now you actually own a business in your IRA, meaning all the revenue that your business generates has the same tax advantages that you would have with any IRA because your IRA owns the business. The same goes for real estate. You can own a piece of real estate within your IRA. In fact, this is probably the most popular reason people have SDIRAs, is because they can contribute as much money as they want up to the yearly maximum and then use that money to invest in real properties that produce a monthly cash flow, as well as when they sell it later on in years, that income from the sale is at a tax advantaged rate as well. You can also use an SDIRA to invest in things like gold, oil, and other commodities, or even as far as things like Bitcoin and even livestock. I knew somebody that was really good at ranching, and they decided to use the money in their self-directed IRA to buy a bunch of livestock. And later on, that livestock ended up producing them an extremely large amount of return. Now, I said it in my previous video that using self-directed IRAs can help with things like diversification. Instead of putting all of your money in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and traditional investing, you can diversify by also now investing in commodities, real estate, businesses, and a bunch of other things. So it grants you access to broader levels of diversification. Now, I should note here that the self-directed IRA is both an angel and a devil, because although it helps diversify your funds and can cause extremely large amount of gains and tax breaks, if you don't know what you're doing, you can also open yourself up for giant tax liabilities. And because in an SDIRA, you're the person directing the investments and not a bona fide brokerage, the IRS also has more constringent rules on what you can and cannot invest in when it comes to your self-directed IRA. Now, it's true you can invest in pretty much anything with an IRA, but there's some people and deals that can't be made. As an example, you can't self-deal, meaning you can't use your IRA to invest in your own business. And the same is true for the disqualified individual. And this is anyone with a linear family line to you, or whoever the account owner is. So a disqualified person would be you, your spouse, your parents, your grandparents, your kids, and or grandkids. Anyone that is a direct line to you. But people like aunts, uncles, and cousins are not considered disqualified people. And this extends to the disqualified person's businesses as well. Any legal entity, whether it's a trust, corporation, or other, that one of the disqualified individuals owns 50% or more of the controlling stake, that entity you cannot invest in. It is considered a disqualified individual as well. Also, any business or entity that you are the director, controller, high-paid individual, or own 10% or more of the company's stock. That is also considered a disqualified investment. Okay, so you might be thinking to yourself, well, I can't use this to invest in anything I own or I'm a part of, or my wife, kids, grandkids. What can I do with it? Well, like I mentioned earlier, landlords are known for using self-directed IRAs to buy real estate and use that rental as passive income with a tax advantage because it's sitting in an IRA. So if you're thinking about owning real estate, this would be a perfect vehicle to do that. But more specifically, it gives people a chance to invest in something that they actually know. If you were in the commodities industry, like perhaps worked on an oil field or just knew oil in general, then as long as you didn't invest in a disqualified entity or person, you would know firsthand where to put your money as far as oil goes, whether it's research, tech, whatever it may be. You know oil like the back of your hand because that is your industry. So as long as you avoid the disqualified individuals and entities, you can invest in that and have a better chance of making a killing than leaving it to somebody that doesn't know oil as well as you do. Same thing goes for precious metals like gold and other commodities. But a self-directed IRA on what you can invest in doesn't stop at commodities or real estate. Like I said, you can invest in pretty much anything and everything that you know. There's even stories of people using a self-directed IRA to invest in things like horse breeding and horse embryo trading. I don't even know what that is, but that goes to show just how broad of an investment platform you can take advantage of when using a self-directed IRA. But at the end of the day, anything that makes you a sole proprietorship would also be a good investment for your self-directed IRA. Now, the definition of a sole proprietor is any one person conducting business for themselves. So, if you buy a bunch of candy from the store that's on sale and then sell it to somebody else, you are now a sole proprietor of a candy retail. And at the end of the day, if you did that within your self-directed IRA, the money that you earned from the return of you selling the candy would be tax advantaged. I guess a better example of a sole prop in conjunction with a self-directed IRA would be if you're a house flipper and or a car flipper. You could buy rundown houses or used cars, fix them up, and then sell them for a profit. You could do that either as a formal business, a sole prop, or within the confines of your self-directed IRA. And if you do them within the confines of your self-directed IRA, all those gains have a giant tax advantage. But as we go deeper and deeper down the tax rabbit hole, I also want to say that IRAs in general, whether a regular Roth, traditional, self-directed, or any other kind of IRA, they can actually partner with yourself or other business entities. And when partnered properly, you can see massive tax benefits as well as massive rewards for you and your pocket when done properly. But I'll go deeper down that rabbit hole in our next video. Until then, have a good one. Hey everybody, I just want to say thank you for making it all the way to the end of the video. If you got value from this video today, please like and subscribe because it really helps the algorithm in helping my channel grow. And if you want to take your personal finances to the next level, stay tuned because these videos talk all about that.